My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. We are back. We had a week off, and now we're back with UFC on ABC2, and the first fight on the entire 15-fight card is Impa Kasanganay versus Sasha Palatnikov.
Welcome back, baby.
Palatnikov.
Until he's been practicing.
Palatnikov.
Yeah, 2
Impa
weeks.
Kasanganay versus Sasha Palatnikov. So this is an interesting one to me. These odds are nuts, and I know we say that a lot, but these odds are very far apart. It's an interesting fight. You may know Impa for being on the wrong side of probably the greatest UFC highlight of all time. So it is interesting. He has made a lot of changes since then. On the wrong side of a wild knockout finish, he has dropped weight. He's a massive human being. He's now down at welterweight. He's completely changed his gym. He's changed everything about his career after that, essentially. And he's trying to rebuild himself, understandably so, right? That was a bad – he actually looked good in that fight until that knockout. But he's trying to work his way back, switching things up. Nick, I'm going to go right to you. What are your thoughts on this fight? And what are your thoughts on – that was kind of a crazy knockout that'll literally never, ever happen again. What are your thoughts on him just changing everything about his entire career after that?
I mean, if that's what you need, I don't think like one loss makes you need to change everything. But if he felt like his preparation wasn't right and it was in the back of his head, then it was the right move. I think he's going to win this fight. We've talked exclusively about him, but he looked really, really good in his fight versus Maki Pitolo. He controlled that fight. He looked great. Even Maki looked good in that fight, but Impa was start to finish kind of in control of that fight, in my opinion. Palatnikov, his last fight, he basically did the Homer Simpson technique. Koshki beat him from post to post the first round and wore himself out. He survived and just showed incredible heart in that fight. That's something that not a lot of people have, and he showed that he is all heart. And he has some good skills too, but I think that Impa is just a little bit faster than him. And, I honestly think that these lines make sense to me. I think that he should be a huge favorite, and that's why I'm putting him in my lineup.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I thought the lines were farther apart than they should be. And I guess I'm factoring in too much of what going to welterweight will do to Impa. I mean, he was a good size middleweight. And so this is a lot of weight to cut. I mean, I just don't know what he's going to look like, what his gas is going to be. And Sasha has proven that he's got gas and he's got guts and he will not break. So, Dan, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you think that weight cut's going to be tough? You cut to welterweight and you're a pretty big dude. So, I mean, what are your thoughts?
I was miserable cutting to welterweight. I don't know. I feel like this day and age, if you decide to make that cut, I don't know that guys are doing 30 pound, 25 pound water weight cuts anymore. If they are, I don't know. It's not the smartest thing. But my guess is that if he thinks he can make it, he can make it. So he'll be a big boy at 170. That's for sure. But yeah, as far as the fight breakdown, I did watch some tape on Kasanganay. I think he's definitely the better striker, the more athletic guy. Nick said it. He looked great against Pitolo. The interesting thing is I was watching his fights, and he has some explosive power in his hands, but he has 0 wins by knockout. I was like, how could he have not knocked anybody out? He's got 6 decisions and 2 subs. He definitely showed he has a good chin. He took some good shots from Buckley early before getting hit with the super kick from hell. He looked pretty good. He got taken down once. He got back up. Overall, he's just a very good striker, fast, hands, power. We'll see. Hasn't had a knockout yet, but I think Sasha Palatnikov, I think is going to be outmatched in this fight. Nick said it well. He did the Homer Simpson's last fight. Like, he got destroyed that first round. And then he looked great after that, but it's really easy to look good against a guy who's dead tired. So I will say he's tough. He's got a chin, and he definitely has cardio. So if the weight cut does affect Kasanganay, that's going to be a problem later in the fight. But I just think overall Kasanganay's a better striker. I think he does potentially have some takedowns in his back pocket. Palatnikov has been taken down in multiple fights, and the 2 fights he lost, he's been finished on the ground. So I'm picking Kasanganay. I'm putting him in my lineup. I think he's $9,500, so he's expensive. So I'm trying to work him in right now, but I think he's going to win this fight. And I think, honestly, this might end up being his first knockout win.
Yeah, it's definitely – so you guys definitely aren't putting as much weight into all the changes he's made as I am, and that's fine. So, Jacob, what are your thoughts here? What do you think how do you think this goes, and is either one of them going in your lineup?
First of all, he's going to look fantastic at 170. I've been cruising on his Instagram a little bit, and he's going to get there, and he's going to look great doing it. But the thing that impressed me the most with Impa about that loss is sometimes your first loss, I feel like, can really make or break you as a fighter. And if you watch the way he talks about that fight on his Instagram, he has pictures of himself getting knocked out, with a caption. I think he's really embraced that loss because it wasn't like a freak loss. Like you saw Sean O'Malley is talking about, like, I'm undefeated, and that works for him. It wasn't really a free. It was a wild knockout, but I think he was losing that fight anyway. So I think he realized in that fight, not just because of the knockout, that he had to change some things and he wasn't comfortable with some things, but I think he's the better fighter in this fight. I think he's a very good fighter. I don't think he's a great fighter, that being Impa. And Sasha kind of reminds me of the old boxing poster you always see of the guy with the mustache that just kind of stands like this. Yeah, I feel like he kind of fights like that, and he's like that tough type of fighter, like just kind of hands low, and he's willing to brawl. So he definitely got some power. He might be able to catch Impa, but like Dan says, I think Impa's just a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, a little bit more powerful. So I have him winning this fight, but he's not in my lineup.
Go ahead, Nick.
One more. Okay. So I don't think the cut to 170 will really be a big deal for Impa also, because the 2 people he fought previously in the UFC have both fought at 170 before. So he might have looked big in comparison to them, but Maki Pitolo has fought at 170, and so has Joaquin Buckley. So comparing him to 2 middleweights that have made welterweight, I don't think is a fair comparison. And I don't think he looked like bigger than them either. So I think that 170 won't be that big of a deal.
It's also tough to tell when you have that body type where you're like pure muscle. Sometimes you just naturally look bigger than you actually are. And there's a lot of water in all that muscle. So sometimes it makes it easier to cut a little bit of weight, a little bit more weight. You look deceivingly big when you're that ripped, so it may not be as bad of a cut as it looks.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think we're all right. Meaning, I think Impa's the better fighter. I think he's more explosive. I think he has more tools. He may be gun shy after the knockout, but if he is, I think he'll lean on some grappling. And Sasha has decent kickboxing, has a decent ground game, but it's actually the transitions where he struggles a bit. So I think Impa has a few ways to win this fight, and I think he does win this fight. I will be watching these weigh-ins very closely, though. If it looks like it was a struggle, I may stay away from this at all costs. Before you go, check out the description below. In there, we have links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and more importantly, to our DraftKings League. Check out the league, join the league, participate in the contests, and as we get going and as you start winning, we're going to start handing out gift cards and participating and doing things like that. So check those out. Every week, there are drops on every fight card. So make sure you check out this channel and our social media on Saturday before the fights start so that you have our most updated lineups and picks.